Let's get more now on this. I'm joined by Dan O'Shea. He's a hostage recovery, kidnap, and ransom specialist and a former Navy SEAL. Dan, obviously another deadline has come and gone. The fact we have absolutely had no news, can we draw any conclusions from that?
No, at this stage, the timelines are generally groups like al-Qaida and ISIL, they stick to them. So it is a very tense situation. But really, they are sucking this out for all the attention they can get, because it's media attention like this that is literally the oxygen that feeds this form of terrorism, that is seeking to send a propaganda message. And by that alone, that they are still holding the world's stage raptured by this ongoing crisis, is that they're winning, and they're going to keep doing and exploiting this opportunity.
They're winning because they hold the upper hand in this negotiation, is what you're saying.
Of course they do. I mean, they're holding all the cards right now, and that's why they've just gotten so effective. ISIL is so much farther along in the social media game. How they market, the very polished videos they're producing, they're almost Hollywood quality. They really have a targeted media campaign, and their propaganda machine is going into overdrive right now, because literally this is driving media coverage from news all over the world, in the West, in the Middle East, and just everywhere right now. The whole world is watching this in rapt attention, and this is exactly what they want.
The sad reality is, too, innocent people's lives are hanging in the balance here with so many anguished relatives. Talk to me about the likelihood at this point of a swap actually taking place.
Well, every single hostage case is different. There are no cases that are exactly alike. This is drawing out. I mean, they're trying to say release Sajia, the woman held who's been on charges of capital punishment, convicted of attempted murder on a massive terrorism attack in 2005 in Amman, Jordan. Her husband was killed in the attempt. 60 people were killed, and the only reason she wasn't involved, she wasn't killed, is that her suicide vest did not go off. So she's got blood on her hands, and by association, she was sentenced to death. But she's also been a heroine to the al-Qaida Islamist movement, of which now ISIS is front and center. So it's a very strategic value to try and get this woman released, and that's why they're driving this image of a woman, which again goes to their media campaign, because they are targeting young women to join the fight, to join the radical Islamic cause, and what better person than a female who is considered a hero to the likes of al-Qaida and ISIL.
Dan, we heard an emotional appeal from Kenji Gato Rinko's wife. We heard an emotional appeal from the father of the Jordanian pilot who is being held hostage. Do these kind of appeals really make a difference in saving the lives of these people?
I wish I could say they do, but unfortunately, my past experience, these are nothing more than to be exploited for getting media attention. The groups that share this ideology, they have no concern nor compassion for their victims, be it a Westerner, be it a fellow Muslim. They really, if the beheading serves their end state, they're going to do this and put it for the world stage. If they think they can garner, the swap, then there's still a chance. The fact that they're willing to do this prisoner swap, it means there's still hope that both the Japanese and the Jordanian hostages may be alive, but this could go either way. I wouldn't put a bet on either outcome at this point.
What is the best way, in your opinion, to confront the evil of ISIL threat?
Well, it is, listen, I can only go off my experience. I worked these 400-odd kidnapping cases of similar nature from 2004 to 2006 in Iraq. We were faced with the same evil. It was in the form of al-Qaida doing these beheadings. And ultimately, it was the PR propaganda value, the machine that ultimately won out, because ISIS has taken this to a whole new game. But back in 2004, when al-Qaida was doing these beheadings, after about 4 or 5 months, especially when they kidnapped and murdered an innocent woman, Margaret Hassan, who was an Irish aid worker, married to a local Iraqi, ran Care International, lived the third pillar of Islam, Zakat, taking care of the very poor, the poorest of the poor in Iraqi slums. She was murdered by al-Qaida. And the head of al-Qaida, number 2 at the time, Zawahiri, came out and sent a message to Zarqawi and said, who was the leader of al-Qaida in Iraq, said, knock this off. You're giving us a bad image around the world. And that's ultimately what turned the tide against these beheadings that were public spectacle. But ISIS and ISIL, they're doing these, and they're gaining more support. So until we can start turning the PR value around, I'm not really hopeful that we're not going to see more of this. And the only way we defeated these type of groups in Iraq and Afghanistan is we hunted them down. We kidnapped the kidnappers. We put them out of business. And we don't really have that option on the table because we've stated clearly we're not putting combat troops, Western or American or coalition partner combat troops on the ground. And that's the only way you're going to root out this kind of evil. You have to confront it because this is, you know, if you make this prisoner swap, what's to say that the next family is going to now be targeted because the Japanese caved or the Jordanians caved? You just create this endless cycle. The more you acquiesce to this form of terrorism, you invite more of it. And that's just the sad reality.
Sad reality indeed. All right, Dan O'Shea, thank you so much, sir, for your time.